Thank you so much. That was quite the introduction. I can't wait to hear what I have to say. This might look like a boring, odd prop, common yardstick. This means so much more to me. This is a verified measuring device. I don't use it to measure a piece of carpet, where to hang a picture on the wall. This is my journey every single day, 3 feet a day. There's hundreds of hash marks on this yardstick, and you can attach a different emotion to every one of those marks. It's amazing what we are capable of feeling as human beings. Attach some goals, some dreams, some plans, all on this 3-foot guide. 20 years ago, literally on this day, March 26th, 2001, I'm living the dream, working as a Phoenix police officer, 28 years old, solid as a rock. Till 11:21 p.m. that night. Just a few miles from here, I was on my way to an emergency call, lights and siren, came to a brief stop at a red light, and I was struck from behind by a taxi driver suffering an epileptic seizure doing 115 miles an hour. I didn't drive through that intersection. I was shot through that intersection like out of a cannon. And it's easy to reflect back and say, when you're hit from behind, it will propel you forward. Well, I went forward so far, so fast, that I didn't wake up until June 12th. 2.5 months in the blink of an eye. Woke up to my doctors, my friends, my family, saying, Jason, you were burned over 40% of your body, 4th-degree burns from the neck up, something I had never heard, down the last layers of muscle into the bone. You've lost half your fingers. You're completely blind. Your muscles have atrophied so much laying here, you've lost 61 pounds. And the bad news kept coming. You're never going to return to work. You're never going to play golf again. A game that I love so much. I was a 2 handicap at the time. Those were verifiable truths at the time, but they were only temporary. It took me a lot of days and nights, a lot of time alone with myself, and asking questions to put everything together. But then I realized that if I chose to have accountability for where I was, for the most part, we are all exactly where we've chosen to be. I chose to be a police officer. I chose to answer up for a call out of my patrol zone. I chose my route of travel. That took me back many years. I gave up a golf scholarship to college to join the military. Chose to only spend my 4 years and move on. It was not a random, tragic moment in time. All of those choices I had made over all those years, that's what led me to that intersection, to that fire, into that hospital bed, and 20 years later, onto this stage. Verification simply means acceptance. And when I accepted where I was, what my fate at the time was, I was able to start building the positive attitude, positive momentum. And the beautiful thing about that is it's an unstoppable force. Once it gets going, you just got to get out of the way. Every time I went to therapy and came home, got a little bit stronger. Every surgery I had got a little bit better. Now, as you can imagine, I did not have a lot of things to smile about. Certainly didn't have anything to laugh about. And the old cliche that laughter is the best medicine is very, very true. Well, I found my sense of humor in a very odd place. In January of 2002, I was invited to participate in the Olympic torch run as it passed through Phoenix on its way to Salt Lake City. And I get down there, and this young girl comes up, and she says, "Officer Schechterle, we have a wheelchair for you. We got a guy who's going to carry the torch for you. Carry it for 400 yards. And I said, I don't know how this is going to go. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so I'd really like to carry the torch and at least walk down the street. And as sweet as she could, she looked at me and she said, "Okay, when you're carrying the torch, make sure you don't get the flame too close to your face." And I said, "No shit." I am the one guy who does not need those instructions. And I walked back over to my friends and I said, "You are not going to believe what this girl just said to me." And we were doubled over in the middle of the street laughing as hard as we could. And I have not stopped laughing since. Thank you. When I first got home from the hospital, I had a lot to deal with. My 3-year-old son at the time. He would cry and run out of any room I was in. He would openly say, "You're not my dad." I don't know what rock bottom means to all of you, but that was mine. And I was determined to embrace gratitude. I was no longer consumed by fire. Gratitude. And in that gratitude, I will go back to work. I will play golf again. And I will be my children's dad. Went on 18 months later to have my 3rd child. 2 weeks after that, got into a truck by myself, drove back to work. Public information officer, homicide detective for the city of Phoenix, eventually retiring 5.5 years after the accident. Life truly is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. And there's so few things that we are in control of. But we're in control of our attitude at all times. Every person you deal with, every situation you face, you get to choose how you're going to respond. And you're not always going to win those battles. It is okay to not be okay. A lot of times people hear the word vulnerability and they think it means weakness. It doesn't. It means strength and beauty. I did go back to work. I did learn how to play golf again. And I worked hard at it. I got my handicap back down to a 1. I could play golf better after the accident than I could before. That 3-year-old boy is now a 22-year-old successful young man who is very proud to call me dad. Thank you. I love irony, and I wish I had time to tell you all the amazing ironies that have happened along my journey. But the one that really sticks out is ever since I was a child, when I would see a picture or a graphic of a phoenix, it always meant one thing. And I was born and raised here. And then I grew up to be a Phoenix police officer, and then I actually did rise from the fire. But what the phoenix signifies is our human spirit. And the human spirit, you can't touch it, taste it, see it. It is the most powerful entity in the world. And it doesn't matter your age, your race, your religion, how much money you have in the bank. We are all created equal. And our human spirit is designed for one thing, is to take you away from risk and straight toward reward. You just have to choose to let it soar. I learned a lot of things along this journey, constantly inside of these hash marks. Whether it was excitement, enthusiasm, success, all the way down to the tears and the anger and the anxiety and the hopelessness. I embraced all of it. And I figured out something that means so much to me that I chose to have it permanently etched into my skin. And that is, sometimes the most beautiful, inspirational changes will disguise themselves as utter devastation. Be patient. How will you choose to go 3 feet every day? Thank you all. Thank you.